Welcome to Discover Barnstable, the official podcast of the town of Barnstable, a podcast where you can meet the people who steward the programs and services that connect us to our quality of life here in the town of Barnstable. We invite you to join the conversation as we navigate municipal government and our community pathways to help you discover Barnstable. On this episode of Discover Barnstable, we are joined by Director of Communications, Lynne Poyant. Lynne.
Hello, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
You're on the other side.
I am on the other side.
So we're going to talk about the town of Barnstable's communications. So let's talk a little bit about how it's grown over the years. And can you talk also about how we communicate with our residents?
Certainly. Thank you for asking. So it's definitely changed over the years. In January of 2020, I became the Director of Communications. Prior to that, communications had been a part of the Community Services Director's job. And it was growing over the years. Running a department plus doing communications was really difficult. And the town decided that given the number of projects they had, that it was really important to have a person that would be focused on that program. So we were one of the first communities in the Commonwealth to start with social media. We started that in 2008. We do standard press releases. We have a number of standard communications. Our government access channel has been really big. When I arrived at Town Hall, there were only 8 boards, committees, or commissions that were filmed, and now we're doing over 40. And that was something that was a desire of both the town manager and the town council to be as transparent as possible by getting all those meetings out on the air. We have, we want to listen to people. We hear from people on a regular basis that they didn't know about things. And we ask them, well, how do you get your news? How do you want us to communicate with you? Because we know that that's changing. It's changing with the demographics. It's changing with everything. And we definitely had some lessons learned during the pandemic. We had to do public health notifications in multiple languages. We had to do election notifications in multiple languages. And we had to do a federal census, which is responsible for money that comes into town and the county and the state through a pandemic. And it totally changed the way that we were doing things. So in last year, we took an opportunity to, I won't say hijack, but we partnered with the town clerk's office. Every year there's an annual census that goes out to every registered voter in the town. And it's the residents' responsibility to send that back, usually in a timely manner. And the interesting thing is that they are still getting those.
I was going to say they're getting ready to send out the next census, and they're still getting replies from last year's census.
That's correct. But we had almost 7,000 responses from the information that we mailed out. And it was really eye-opening to see what they thought we were doing well, what they thought we needed to change. And one of the things that they asked for, and it was interesting because the demographic was that most wanted this was ages 61 to 75, female, and they wanted an app. And that's how my Barnstable app was launched in June of 2023.
Let's take a second to talk about that app a little bit, because I think that we launched it, you just said in June, right?
Right, June.
We launched it in June, so it's been about 6 months. And we have already over 5,000 people who are using the app, who have downloaded the app and have subscribed. Some people have subscribed. You can subscribe to the app to kind of generate what you want to learn about. But if not, you just kind of get all the notifications. And in 6 months, over 5,000. That's amazing.
It is amazing. And we've, instead of creating our own app, we went with a company called GoGov. We had received information from a number of app providers previously, but GoGov seemed to be the one that would help us the most. And it really has been awesome. I have to say that our communications team right now is relatively small. You. We have the video specialists, Stone Dow and David Hebner, also for Barnstable Government Access. And we are very fortunate that DPW's communications manager, Kelly Colopy, is part of our team. And we communicate on a regular basis with those folks to try to get things out. We know that having a video component to what we do on social media is really important because people's attention spans have gotten shorter, and having little snippets of video, some kind of picture, will get people's attention. But the My Barnstable app, since we launched it, it's interesting because our person that we work with over there gets all of our notifications. And he has said what a great job we're doing because we provide varied information. We used it for the recent elections. We use it for road updates. We've used it for cyanobacteria updates. And when you talked about subscribers, the difference, you can download the app and you don't have to do anything else, just download the app. But if you want to customize what it is that you want to receive, then you do need to subscribe. That way there you're getting only the meeting notices, or you're getting only the cyanobacteria or the road work notices. It can be what you want it to be. Mm-hmm. We do try to be respectful of times when we send it out, so that we're not waking somebody up or preventing them from going to sleep.
Right.
So, but the app we really think that it's a great addition to our tool belt. Yeah,
and if anybody out there doesn't have the app yet and is looking, they're wondering, okay, so I've heard about this app. How do I download it? You can just get it from either the App Store, whichever kind of phone you have, either Apple or the Google Play Store, and just search My Barnstable, and you can download it right from there. Yeah. And I think one of the other uses we used it for this summer was for the beaches. I think a lot of people got a lot out of that because we all know that Dowses is a very popular beach. And to know that the parking lot was at capacity, that was a huge bonus for people because they could be like, oh, okay, well, I'll try another beach, or maybe I'll try it in a couple hours.
And Sandy Neck previously had their own app.
Right.
And the company that they were dealing with no longer supported the app. So they were able to pivot into ours, and that has been a tremendous benefit for them. The nice thing about the app, too, is it's not just one person that has the ability to upload the information. It can be uploaded by multiple people. So that's given us some flexibility in how we communicate. I do want to go back to pandemic communications for just briefly. That definitely taught us a lot. We had to do a lot of pivoting during that time. And I know that's a overused word, but things were constantly changing. With the elections, with everything being mailed in for that first you had a presidential election during a pandemic, and the need for mail-in voting was really important. We were able to help with that. We've been able to do a number of communications that we were able to prior to the hiring of Kelly Colopy in November of 2022. We were able to create BarnstableWaterResources.com, the website. Since Kelly's been here, she's made a number of improvements to that website. So we have a number of specialty websites that are on the web page. The first one that we had within days was Barnstable Health. Because we had, it was at a time before vaccines. There was all these issues with testing and stuff like that. And we were trying to provide information to people. So we were constantly having to change how we were communicating. We worked really closely with the schools as it related to multilingual opportunities. And there were a lot of lessons learned during that time.
There were. And it was, like you said, you became the communications director in January 2020, and 2 months later, we were in the middle of a pandemic.
And the addition of Zoom, that was something that you were able to get us on really quickly, so that we didn't miss.
Yeah, we only missed a handful of meetings that had to be canceled, and then a week later, we're back up and running, and kind of figuring it out as we go, as most everyone did during the pandemic.
Yeah, and then as things were shifting, we also had to make some investment in our infrastructure, because we understood that the equipment that we currently have does not accommodate for certain things, and we're still going through that now. So, but yeah.
So some of the other things that we've done, and I'd like to talk about, it's kind of funny to talk about this on the podcast, but we're going to talk about the podcast because that was another, something we'd been talking about doing for a little bit. And now this is our 4th season. We do 2 seasons a year in the fall and in the spring. And the podcast. And I think it's just another way to reach people in a different way.
Right. And it really provides kind of a Barnstable 101 for people so that they can understand how the town of Barnstable does business. I have to say that our former IT director, Dan Wood, had been talking to me about podcasts about 10 years ago, maybe.
Oh, wow.
He said, the town needs a podcast. And it's like, at the time when he was mentioning it's like, I don't know what that is, Dan. So it was like, but, it had been something that we had wanted. We had a great team that kicked it off. And we've had some very willing participants. We know that amongst the most popular episodes has to do with how to get a beach parking permit, Budgeting 101 with Mark Milne. We frequently have Ann Quirk as a guest because there's so much going on in the town clerk's office, whether it be the census or elections, things of that nature. It's really important for us to inform our citizenry of what the town is doing.
Right.
So we've received some really positive feedback from from having the podcast. And we do try to keep it to about 15 minutes. Sometimes we go a little bit over, but we try to keep it to 15 minutes. That way somebody's driving in from Cotuit or Marston's Mills, they can listen to the entire podcast on their drive in, and they don't have to restart it at another time.
Right. And hopefully, if you're listening to the podcast now, this isn't your first time, but if it is your first time listening, do know that you can go back and listen to any of our other episodes. We try to keep them what we call evergreen. So the information is always current, it's not stale, it's informative. So we try to keep it that way so that you can go back and listen to any one of them at any time and get good quality information.
And if listening isn't what you're into, you can also view the recording on our YouTube.
Yep. We record all of them. We want to get people wherever they are.
Right.
We want to meet people where they're at. Another aspect of that is we have a weekly newsletter that we send out.
Yeah, that's been going around for a really long time. I forget when it started, but it's morphed over the years thanks to you and your Canva skills. It's more visual than it is just words on a paper. But it has links to, when I was talking about specialty websites, one of the specialty websites is Barnstable e-News.
Yep.
And so people can get any information from the e-News. They can click on the link and go straight to where the source of the information is.
Yeah, we like to say almost everything in e-News is clickable for more information.
Yeah.
So we try
except our last word.
Right. But that speaks for itself.
That does speak for itself.
What else is there that you wanted to discuss today before we wrap things up?
I think that we would love to encourage our public to email us at podcast@town.barnstable.ma.us if there's a podcast program that you would like. But if you have questions, we do have a town main mailbox. It's email@town.barnstable.ma.us. And we would encourage your questions or thoughts to us in that way so we can act on it, move it to the appropriate division or department that would be dealing with whatever it is that you're asking.
Wonderful. Now, we have a quick little bonus question. If I was to look at the top of your playlist, what are you listening to right now?
So right now I am listening to Lori McKenna, Bonnie Raitt, because I have tickets to see her at the Melody Tent, and Joni Mitchell.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You're a big music person.
I am a big music person, and in any given month it may change. I have to say that when I'm with my niece, we're listening to all kinds of kid songs.
Nice.
And I'm learning things for the first time. So.
It's great that you have an open mind when it comes to music. I think that's important. People should try different genres and things.
Yeah, there's pretty much nothing that I don't like. So
great. Yeah. Lynn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks for spending time with us and listening to Discover Barnstable, the official podcast of the town of Barnstable. We hope you found a new understanding of how your municipal government works for you and our community. Be sure to drop us a line at podcast@town.barnstable.ma.us and let us know what you would like to learn next. Until next time, go Discover Barnstable.